Have you ever felt that after giving birth, something inside you broke, and at the same time, something new began to be born? Have you noticed that it's not just your body that changes? It's as if your soul is being reorganized, piece by piece. If you're living this right now, breathe. You are not alone. Around 80% of women report deep emotional changes during the postpartum period, not because they are weak, but because the body, the brain, and the entire identity go through a reconstruction as intense as childbirth itself. Today, we're going to talk about this silent revolution, the one no one prepares you for, the one that doesn't show up in maternity photos, but transforms everything, from the way you feel love to the way you feel fear. If this video helps you, like, comment, and share, this conversation can change someone's day and sometimes their life. Now let's dive in together. When the baby is born, everyone looks at the mother's body. How's the recovery? Are you back to normal? Is breastfeeding going well? But no one asks, and inside, how are you? Because there's a kind of change that doesn't show up in exams, but hurts, weighs, and transforms. The internal shock. Right after childbirth, the maternal brain goes through a kind of emotional reset. Hormone levels plummet, adrenaline fades, oxytocin swings like a roller coaster, and the brain, especially the areas linked to fear, care, and vigilance, becomes extremely sensitive. This isn't pop psychology. It's pure biology. It's an entire system trying to adapt to a new state of existence, being a mother. And this process is so radical that many women describe a strange feeling. My body came home, but my soul got stuck somewhere I still haven't found. Sometimes it's an internal restlessness. Sometimes it's an emptiness. Sometimes it's a whirlwind of mismatched emotions. And all of this is normal, but no one talks about it. You wake up and notice your body responds differently. Your sleep is no longer sleep, it's vigilance. Your hunger is no longer hunger, it's necessity. Your breasts are no longer just part of you, they are someone's source of life. And your heart? It feels too small to hold so much fear and so much love at the same time. This silent shock is the doorway to the entire internal revolution we'll explore in the next chapters. And it matters, because recognizing this impact is the first step to stop blaming yourself for being too sensitive, too confused, or too fragile. The truth is, you are rebuilding yourself. When emotions hit after childbirth, they don't ask for permission. They arrive abruptly, overwhelmingly, and often at the worst possible moments. You're holding a tiny baby in the quiet of the night, and suddenly, your chest tightens, your eyes fill, your mind races. It's not weakness. It's your entire emotional system trying to recalibrate after one of the most intense events a human body can experience. In the postpartum period, the brain becomes hypersensitive. It's wired to detect danger, protect, anticipate, and respond. That's why feelings that once seemed small now feel gigantic. A simple cry from the baby can echo inside your mind like an alarm. A comment from a family member can feel like criticism written in neon lights. And sometimes, even silence feels loud. This emotional avalanche isn't random. Your hormone levels drop by more than half within hours after birth, a fall so abrupt that some neuroscientists compare it to withdrawal. Your brain is flooded with new responsibilities, new fears, new expectations. Everything becomes too much because, biologically, it is too much. And here's the part that many mothers never say out loud. You can love your baby deeply and still feel overwhelmed. You can want to be a great mother and still cry in the shower. You can be grateful for your new life and at the same time feel like you've lost a part of yourself. None of this means you're failing. It means you're human. There'll be days when emotions rise before your feet even touch the floor. Days when you feel like you're carrying a storm inside your chest while trying to smile for everyone around you. And nights when all you want is to disappear for a few hours just to breathe the way you used. But this emotional avalanche also carries a message. Your body is asking for gentleness. Your mind is begging for a pause. Your heart is learning a love so big it barely knows where to place it. The feelings that seem out of control right now are not permanent. They are waves. Intense, yes, but temporary. And every time you move through one of them, you discover a strength you didn't know you had. Your emotions aren't enemies. They are signals. They are the language of a woman being transformed from the inside out. When emotions hit after childbirth, they don't ask for permission. They arrive abruptly, overwhelmingly, and often at the worst possible moment. You're holding a tiny baby in the quiet of the night, and suddenly, your chest tightens, your eyes fill, your mind races. It's not weakness. It's your entire emotional system trying to recalibrate after one of the most intense events a human body can experience. In the postpartum period, the brain becomes hypersensitive. It's wired to detect danger, protect, anticipate, and respond. That's why feelings that once seemed small now feel gigantic. A simple cry from the baby can echo inside your mind like an alarm. A comment from a family member can feel like criticism written in neon lights. And sometimes, even silence feels loud. This emotional avalanche isn't random. Your hormone levels drop by more than half within hours after birth, a fall so abrupt that some neuroscientists compare it to withdrawal. Your brain is flooded with new responsibilities, new fears, new expectations. Everything becomes too much because, biologically, it is too much. And here's the part that many mothers never say out loud. You can love your baby and still feel overwhelmed. You can want to be a great mother and still cry in the shower. You can be grateful for your new life and at the same time feel like you've lost a part of yourself. None of this means you're failing. It means you're human. There will be days when emotions rise before your feet even touch the floor. Days when you feel like you're carrying a storm inside your chest while trying to smile for everyone around you. And nights when all you want is to disappear for a few hours, just to breathe the way you used to. But this emotional avalanche also carries a message. Your body is asking for gentleness. Your mind is begging for a pause. Your heart is learning a love so big it barely knows where to place it. The feelings that seem out of control right now are not permanent. They're waves, intense, yes, but temporary. And every time you move through one of them, you discover a strength you didn't know you had. Your emotions aren't enemies. They are signals. They are the language of a woman being transformed from the inside out. There's a particular kind of loneliness that arrives in the postpartum period. A loneliness that doesn't care if the house is full of people, if the baby is in your arms, or if your partner is sitting right beside you. It's a silence that lives inside you, not around you. And it hits hardest when no one seems to notice how much you're holding together. Part of this isolation comes from an invisible expectation. You're the mother now. You should instinctively know what to do, when to do it, and how to stay calm while doing everything perfectly. But real motherhood isn't like that. It's messy. It's raw. It's a series of decisions made while exhausted, emotional, and often unsure. And yet, even with all that chaos, people assume you're fine. They visit the baby, not you. They ask how breastfeeding is going, not how your heart is holding up. They offer advice, but not presence. And that's when the loneliness grows, not because you're physically alone, but because you feel invisible in the middle of your own life. You may find yourself wanting to cry, but holding back because there's always someone watching. You may feel misunderstood cuando algum diz, aproveta, passato rapido, en cuanto voca mal consegue respirar. You may crave a hug, a break, a deep conversation. But instead you get comments like, "You're so strong," when the truth is, you don't want to be strong all the time. This isolation also comes from the mental overload you're carrying. Decisions, worries, small fears that pile up quietly. You're navigating a new identity, new responsibilities, sleep deprivation, and a hormonal ocean, all while trying to smile for photos and pretend you're adjusting well. And even when people try to help, many mothers feel guilty accepting support. You don't want to seem weak or dramatic or ungrateful. You don't want anyone to think you're failing at something that should be natural. But nothing about this loneliness means you're failing. It means you're human and going through one of the most emotionally intense transitions of your life. Little by little, though, connection grows again through one honest conversation, one moment of vulnerability, one person who truly sees you. Until then, remember, the fact that you feel lonely doesn't mean you're alone. It means you're in the middle of a transformation that deserves to be witnessed with tenderness. There's a weight in the postpartum period that no one sees, but every mother feels. It's not the baby in your arms, it's the invisible list inside your mind that never stops growing. The mental load, the silent pressure, the responsibility that follows you from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you finally sleep. If you sleep, you're not just caring for a newborn. You're forecasting every need, every risk, every detail. Did the baby eat enough? Is the diaper bag ready? Did I wash the bottle? What time is the next appointment? Will the baby wake up soon? Should I try to nap or use this time to shower? This constant thinking, this constant anticipating, is exhausting in a way that physical tiredness can't explain. And yet, because it doesn't make noise, no one notices it. Partners may help with tasks, but the planning, the remembering, the emotional responsibility of holding an entire little life inside your mind, that usually falls on the mother. And it changes how you move through the world. You stop resting fully because your brain is always half awake. You stop eating calmly because you're listening for every sound. You stop relaxing because your mind is preparing for the next need before it even happens. It's a cognitive load so intense that some mothers say they feel like they're living in alert mode, even when nothing is wrong. That's not exaggeration. It's a survival mechanism biologically wired to protect your baby. But when it lasts for weeks or months without support, it becomes overwhelming. And here's the hardest part. Because you handle everything so well, remembering, organizing, anticipating, people assume it's easy for you. They assume you're naturally maternal when, in reality, you're running on emotional adrenaline and pure responsibility. There's also guilt woven into this load. Guilt for wanting a break. Guilt for feeling tired. Guilt for snapping after days of overstimulation. Guilt for not being able to carry the invisible weight with a smile all the time. But you're not meant to carry all of this alone. You deserve rest. You deserve help. You deserve someone who doesn't just ask, "Do you need anything?" but steps in and lightens the load without waiting for instruction. Because the mental load isn't a sign you're strong, it's a sign you're carrying too much. There comes a moment in the postpartum journey when you realize you can't keep surviving on instinct, adrenaline, and emotional chaos. Your mind starts asking for grounding. Your body begs for a pause. Your heart whispers, "I need to feel like myself again." This isn't weakness. It's the first sign of emotional stabilization trying to break through. Finding stability doesn't mean having everything under control. It means creating small anchors in the middle of the storm so you don't drown in it. One of the most powerful anchors is naming what you feel. When you say, "I'm overwhelmed," or "I'm scared," or "I'm exhausted," your brain stops fighting the emotion and starts processing it. Silenced feelings grow. Acknowledged feelings soften. This simple act shifts your nervous system from overload to regulation. Another anchor is breathing with intention. Not the shallow breathing you do while rushing around, but slow, deliberate breaths that signal safety to your brain. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. It turns down the internal alarms. It steadies the shaking ground. You also find stability through predictable micro-routines, not the big, perfect routines influencers love to show, but tiny rituals that tell your brain, "Here, we rest. Here, we regroup." A warm shower at the same time each day. A 5-minute stretch before bed. A cup of tea you drink sitting down instead of pacing the house. Small habits, big impact. And then there's connection. One honest conversation with someone who truly listens can rebalance an entire emotional day. Sometimes stability isn't found inside you. It's found in being mirrored by someone who says, "You're not crazy. You're not failing. You're going through something huge, But perhaps the most underrated foundation of emotional stability is permission. Permission to rest without guilt. Permission to ask for help without apologizing. Permission to not be available to everyone all the time. Permission to not love every part of the postpartum experience. Permission to be human. Stability isn't a destination. It's something you build moment by moment. Some days you'll feel strong, grounded, even peaceful. Other days, you'll unravel again. And that's okay. Healing comes in waves, not in straight lines. What matters is that every time the chaos rises, you have anchors to hold on to. And slowly, gently, you learn that you can live inside this new life without losing yourself in it. There comes a point in the postpartum journey when you realize you're not returning to who you were. You're stepping into someone entirely new. And that realization can feel terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Because motherhood doesn't just add a baby to your life, it reshapes your inner world in ways you never expected. This new version of you is born quietly, not in a single moment, but in dozens of small awakenings. In the nights you thought you couldn't keep going, but did. In the mornings you showed up even while exhausted. In the softness you found for your baby and the strength you discovered in yourself, you begin to notice that your heart responds differently now. Things that once felt urgent lose importance. Things you never noticed before, a sigh, a tiny hand, a moment of silence, suddenly hold meaning. Your priorities shift, not because you've been pressured to change, but because your inner compass rearranged itself. But this transformation isn't only about tenderness. It's also about boundaries. Postpartum teaches you what you can't carry anymore, the people you can't please anymore, the versions of yourself you can't perform anymore. You learn to say no without guilt, because saying yes to everything nearly broke you. And slowly, a deeper truth rises. The new woman you're becoming isn't weaker or lost or overwhelmed. She is expanded. She knows more about herself than she ever did. She feels more deeply. She protects more fiercely. She understands what truly matters. There is also a spiritual layer to this transformation, the kind that arrives in the silence between feedings or in the early morning light when the world is still and you're holding a life that came through you. You sense a wisdom growing, a maturity forming, a resilience you never imagined. You start asking bigger questions, longing for meaning, craving purpose beyond survival. This revolution inside you is not an accident. It is the birth of a new identity, not replacing the old one, but integrating everything you've lived, everything you've lost, everything you've gained. And one day, without noticing, you'll look at yourself and whisper, "I didn't just survive this. I transformed." In the end, the postpartum journey is not something you get over. It's something you move through, slowly, painfully, beautifully, until you realize you've been rebuilding yourself the whole time. You've walked through emotional earthquakes, waves of exhaustion, identity shifts, silent loneliness, and the invisible weight of responsibility. And still, you're here, breathing, loving, learning, becoming. Postpartum is not a breakdown. It's a reorganization. Your mind, your body, your heart, your spirit, all of them rearranging to make space for a new life and a new version of you. A version that is stronger, softer, wiser, and more grounded than you ever imagined. And as you look back, you may notice something powerful. You didn't just survive the hardest days, you grew through them. You found clarity in the chaos, courage in the fear, tenderness in the exhaustion, and strength in the moments when you felt you had none left. So as we close this conversation, remember this: you are not the woman you were before. You are someone deeper, someone expanded, someone transformed from the inside out. Give yourself permission to rest, permission to heal, permission to ask for help, permission to feel everything, the beauty and the heaviness. And above all, remember that you are not alone in this revolution happening inside you. Every mother who has walked this path carries a piece of your story. You are becoming. You are rising. You are new. And this new version of you deserves tenderness, compassion, and an entire life built with intention and love. If this content touched you in any way, don't leave without leaving your mark here. Like the video, it helps other mothers find the support they need. Comment and share which parts spoke to your heart the most. Your voice can lift another woman up. Share this with a mother you know is needing to feel seen today. And subscribe to the channel to keep receiving honest and comforting conversations about postpartum and real motherhood. Your presence here matters. You are not alone, and other mothers don't have to be either.